Did you know loneliness can be just as deadly as smoking 15 cigarettes a day? It's true. For millions of older adults, isolation isn't just an emotional struggle. It's a serious health risk. From heart disease to cognitive decline, the impact of chronic loneliness is staggering. But there's good news. It doesn't have to be this way. You can reclaim your health, happiness, and sense of purpose, starting today. In this video, we'll reveal the science behind why loneliness is so dangerous after 60 and share 3 powerful, research-backed strategies that can help you reconnect, re-engage, and revive your life naturally. If you or someone you love is over 60, this might be the most important health video you'll see today. We often think of aging in terms of physical changes, aching joints, slower reflexes, graying hair. But what's happening emotionally and socially can be just as important, if not more so. Loneliness isn't just feeling sad. It's a chronic state of disconnection that triggers real biological stress responses in the body. Cortisol levels go up. Immune function weakens. Sleep becomes disrupted. And the longer it lasts, the more it rewires your brain to expect and accept isolation. In fact, studies show that seniors who are socially isolated have a 50% higher risk of dementia, 30% greater risk of heart disease, and are far more likely to experience depression and anxiety. Even worse, it's not always obvious. You can live with family, attend church, or have acquaintances, but still feel deeply alone. That's because loneliness isn't about being around people. It's about feeling connected. And that's exactly what we're going to help you rebuild. These next few minutes can completely change how you approach your day, your health, and your relationships. So stay with us. Let's dive into the root causes of senior loneliness and what you can do, starting now, to break the cycle. Let's begin by understanding why loneliness hits so hard after age 60. It's not just about fewer friends or retirement. It's about major life transitions that quietly strip away our daily sources of connection. Retirement may bring freedom, but it often means losing the structure, social ties, and identity that work provides. The death of a spouse or close friends can leave behind painful emotional gaps that are hard to fill. Children grow up, move away, and lead busy lives, leaving many older adults feeling like they've been left behind. Even physical health plays a role. Limited mobility, hearing loss, or chronic illness can all make it more difficult to engage socially. And while modern technology is supposed to keep us connected, it often makes seniors feel more isolated. Social media, texting, and virtual communication can feel alienating when you're used to real conversations and meaningful time spent together. But here's the thing, loneliness is not your fault, and it's not a character weakness. It's a biological warning sign, like hunger or thirst, telling your brain and body that something essential is missing. Human connection. Scientists now understand that loneliness lights up the same pain centers in the brain as physical injury. It activates the amygdala, our brain's fear center, which raises heart rate and blood pressure. It disrupts sleep patterns and even reduces the size of the hippocampus, the region responsible for memory and emotional regulation. So when we say loneliness can shrink your brain or increase your risk of chronic illness, we mean that quite literally. That's why fighting loneliness isn't just about cheering up. It's about rewiring your daily life to bring back real connections, restore emotional safety, and give your body the chemical signals it needs to feel secure and supported. And that brings us to what truly matters: how to do that. In the next section, we'll dive into 3 simple, practical changes you can make, starting today, to reduce loneliness and dramatically improve your health, energy, and mental clarity. These aren't just feel-good ideas. They're grounded in neuroscience, psychology, and decades of research on healthy aging. Let's start with the first strategy, one that can change your brain chemistry and mood in under 15 minutes a day. Strategy number 1. Create micro-connections every day. One of the biggest myths about loneliness is that it takes deep, long conversations to fix it. In reality, even tiny moments of connection can light up the brain's social reward systems. These are called micro-connections, and they're one of the easiest and most powerful ways to reduce loneliness and boost mental health. What's a micro-connection? It's that warm greeting to your neighbor when you water the plants. It's chatting briefly with the grocery clerk, smiling at someone while walking your dog, or calling your grandchild just to say hello. These tiny acts send powerful messages to your nervous system. I'm part of something. I'm seen. I'm valued. Neuroscientists have found that these everyday interactions increase levels of oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which helps lower cortisol and reduce stress. Even a 5-minute positive interaction can improve mood, ease anxiety, and make you feel more connected for the rest of the day. Here's a simple exercise you can try. For the next 7 days, aim for 3 intentional micro-connections a day. That could be a phone call or voice message to a friend, a friendly exchange with someone at the park or store, a short note or thank you card mailed to a family member. Keep track in a small notebook. As the days go by, most people report feeling lighter, calmer, and more hopeful, because social connection isn't about quantity. It's about consistency and intention. If you're more introverted or struggle with social anxiety, don't worry. You don't need to force large gatherings or attend crowded events. The beauty of micro-connections is that they're on your terms, at your pace. But the key is to initiate. Don't wait for someone to reach out. Even small steps count. And if technology is a barrier, ask a loved one to help you set up easy ways to connect, like voice calling or video chats. There are even senior-friendly tablets and apps designed specifically to make this easier. When done regularly, micro-connections create emotional momentum. They boost confidence and make it easier to move on to deeper, more fulfilling relationships over time. And that leads us right into the second strategy, something that gives your days meaning and your heart a reason to keep going. Strategy number 2, commit to purpose-driven activities. Loneliness thrives in the absence of purpose. When you wake up without a clear reason to get out of bed, your brain starts to interpret that stillness as isolation, and it turns on stress pathways. But when you engage in purposeful activity, even something small, your brain releases dopamine and serotonin, chemicals linked to pleasure, motivation, and mood. One of the most effective ways to rebuild connection and counter loneliness is to give. Volunteering, mentoring, tutoring, or even helping a neighbor water plants. These small actions create a powerful sense of value. You stop feeling invisible. You begin to feel needed again. Research shows that older adults who volunteer regularly have lower rates of depression, higher life satisfaction, and better cognitive performance. Why? Because purposeful action lights up the brain's social and reward circuits. It reminds you, I matter. I belong. Here are some easy ways to start. Join a community garden, book club, or faith group. Offer to read to children at a local library. Share your skills, like cooking, sewing, or carpentry, at a senior center. Even starting a daily routine with personal goals, like journaling, exercising, or learning a new skill, can provide the structure and fulfillment your brain needs. Purpose doesn't have to be big. It just has to be consistent. It gives your life rhythm, brings others into your circle, and naturally pushes loneliness to the side. Coming up next, the third and final strategy, one that strengthens the brain, heart, and social bonds all at once. And it's probably the most enjoyable habit you can start today. Strategy number 3, move your body with others. One of the most underrated solutions for loneliness is movement, specifically moving with others. Whether it's walking, stretching, dancing, or yoga, group movement offers 2 powerful benefits: physical health and social bonding. And the best part? You don't need to join a gym or push yourself to exhaustion. Let's look at why this works. Physical activity releases endorphins, your brain's natural feel-good chemicals. These chemicals reduce stress, improve mood, and even help with sleep. But when you add social connection into the mix, the benefits multiply. Studies show that people who exercise in groups, especially older adults, experience less depression, better brain function, and greater feelings of belonging. Imagine joining a local walking group. You greet familiar faces, chat about the weather or last night's news, and before you know it, your steps turn into stories. That's how social bonding is built, not through deep emotional confessions, but through shared experience. Tai Chi in the park, chair yoga at the community center, even a walking buddy around your neighborhood. These all count. The movement doesn't have to be intense. It just has to be consistent and paired with people. If leaving the house is a challenge, consider virtual options. Many senior centers now offer online classes where you can see and hear others, even if it's just waving or clapping along. That visual contact is enough to stimulate the social parts of your brain and reduce feelings of isolation. What's more, when you move with others, accountability increases. You're more likely to stick to the routine because someone is expecting you. That creates rhythm and reliability, 2 key ingredients for rebuilding your emotional foundation. And finally, group movement taps into something ancient. Humans have always bonded through physical rhythm. Think of tribal dances, communal farming, or even group prayers. Your body and brain are wired to connect through shared movement. It's primal, healing, and deeply human. So, if you're battling loneliness, don't just sit with it. Move through it with others. It's one of the most natural, joyful, and powerful ways to reconnect with yourself and the world around you. Now let's bring everything together and show you how these 3 strategies work in real life, through the inspiring story of someone who overcame chronic loneliness, one simple step at a time. A real story. How Barbara reclaimed her joy after 70. Let us introduce you to Barbara. At 72, Barbara had just lost her husband of nearly 50 years. Her children lived in other states, and many of her close friends had either passed away or moved into assisted living. The house felt empty. Her days were long and silent. Meals, once shared, were now eaten in front of the TV. Slowly, Barbara's vibrant spirit began to fade. She stopped going out. Phone calls felt like a burden. She told herself, "No one wants to hear from me." And that's the dangerous lie loneliness whispers. It convinces you that you're forgotten, invisible, and unworthy of connection. But here's what changed everything. One morning, her neighbor Linda invited her to join a small group that walked every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m., just a stroll and some coffee afterward. Linda said with a smile. Barbara hesitated. She didn't own good walking shoes. She hadn't exercised in years. She wasn't sure she'd keep up. But she said yes. That walk changed her life. The first time, she barely spoke. But she listened. She heard laughter. She felt the sun on her face and someone beside her. The second time, she joined the conversation. By the third week, She looked forward to Wednesdays more than anything else. From there, the ripple effect began. She signed up for a virtual book club recommended by someone in the walking group. Every Thursday afternoon, Barbara met with 6 other seniors online to talk about stories, authors, and sometimes life itself. It gave her something to look forward to, something to prepare for, and something to share. Her confidence grew. She started calling her grandson more regularly, sharing what she was reading or funny stories from her group. Eventually, she even volunteered to help at the local library's story time for kids. Today, Barbara walks 3 times a week, helps with 2 children's reading programs, and hosts her own knitting circle once a month. She's still grieving, of course, but she's no longer drowning in silence. She's surrounded by laughter, routine, and purpose. What made the difference? Not therapy, not medication, not waiting for someone to rescue her. It was small, consistent actions, micro-connections, purposeful activity, gentle movement with others. These simple changes helped Barbara rebuild her world, and they can help you too. Loneliness is powerful, but so are you. And here's what Barbara would tell anyone feeling stuck in the dark. Don't wait until you feel better to reach out. Reach out and you'll start to feel better. Your 7-day anti-loneliness plan. Now that you've heard Barbara's story and learned the 3 proven strategies, it's time to take action in your own life. And we've made it simple, with a 7-day anti-loneliness plan that you can start today. Day 1. Make 1 micro-connection. A smile. A hello. A short call. Just 1. Day 2. Move your body for at least 15 minutes, preferably outside or with someone else. Day 3. Write down 3 things you enjoy or used to enjoy. Choose 1 to do this week. Day 4. Share something, an article, a story, a meal with someone. Giving fosters connection. Day 5. Join something. A local group, an online class, a library event. Just observe if you prefer. Day 6. Call someone you've lost touch with. Keep it simple. I just wanted to say hi. Day 7. Reflect on how you felt this week. What lifted your spirit? Do more of it next week. You don't have to do it perfectly. You just have to start. These actions might feel small, but they signal something profound to your brain and body. I'm not alone. I belong. And that's how healing begins, not through a dramatic transformation, but through quiet courage, gentle connection, and a willingness to try again. The science behind connection and longevity. You might be wondering, why is loneliness so damaging, especially in older adults? Let's break down the science. When we're socially connected, our bodies release a cocktail of protective chemicals, oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin. These reduce stress, regulate blood pressure, and strengthen the immune system. But when we're lonely, the opposite happens. Cortisol spikes. Inflammation rises. The body enters a low-grade, chronic stress state. Over time, that stress wears down every system, from the heart to the brain to the immune defenses. A Harvard study that tracked people for over 75 years found that the single strongest predictor of healthy aging wasn't diet or exercise. It was relationships. People who felt connected lived longer, had fewer memory problems, and even experienced less physical pain. In fact, loneliness has been linked to a 29% increased risk of heart disease and a 32% higher risk of stroke. It also accelerates cognitive decline, shrinks brain volume, and doubles the risk of Alzheimer's disease. Why? Because the human brain is wired for connection. We evolved in tribes, where being isolated meant danger. Today, the threat isn't a predator. It's isolation itself. But your biology still interprets it the same way. That's why lonely people often feel tired, foggy, and anxious. Their brains are literally in survival mode. The good news? Reversing the damage doesn't require massive changes. Just 10 minutes a day of meaningful interaction, talking to a neighbor, joining a group, even chatting at the grocery store, can reduce stress levels and boost brain function. So when we say that connection is medicine, we mean it literally. You don't have to wait for perfect circumstances. You just have to open the door even slightly and let someone in. What to do if you feel stuck? Feeling stuck is normal, especially if loneliness has lasted for months or even years. Maybe you're afraid of rejection. Maybe you feel embarrassed to admit you're lonely. Or maybe you've tried before and nothing changed. Here's what you need to know. Reaching out isn't weakness. It's one of the most courageous things you can do. Start by acknowledging where you are without judgment. Then take just one step. One phone call. One walk. One hello. And when your brain tells you it doesn't matter, ignore it. Because that's the voice of fear, not truth. There are people who want to know you. People who are just as nervous, just as hesitant, but hoping someone like you will make the first move. Healing from loneliness doesn't happen in a straight line. But every small effort rewires your brain, restores your hope, and strengthens your heart. Resources that can help you right now. If you're ready to take action, here are some simple, accessible resources to help you reconnect. Area agencies on aging, AAA, these local organizations offer social programs, meal deliveries, caregiver support, and senior events. Meetup.com or local Facebook groups. Find hobby groups, walking clubs, and virtual meetups tailored for seniors. Senior centers and libraries. Most offer free or low-cost classes, game nights, tech help sessions, and social hours. VolunteerMatch.org. Find local or remote volunteer opportunities that match your interests and schedule. Phone a friend programs. Organizations like AARP and local nonprofits offer weekly call check-ins with trained volunteers. Remember, it's okay to ask for help. You deserve support, connection, and community at every age. Choose just one of these resources today. Even browsing or signing up is a form of movement forward. Final message: you are not alone. If no one's told you this today, let me be the one to say it. You are not alone. You are needed. And you matter. Loneliness may feel heavy, but connection is always within reach. It doesn't require perfection, just willingness. One action, one moment, one step. Whether it's walking with a neighbor, joining a club, or smiling at a stranger. These small moments are the medicine. They lift the fog, ease the ache, and slowly, steadily restore your joy. And the beauty is, you don't have to do it all at once. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. Your story isn't over. In fact, it might just be getting started. So take that first step and rediscover the life that's still waiting for you, one connection at a time. Thank you for watching. If this message helped you, share it with someone who might need it too. Because healing happens together.